Now, believe it or not, we nearly didn't get Battlefield 1 as the next Battlefield game. We could have been heading to space with Call of Duty. I don't think there's enough space in space for both of us. Well, fortunately, EA was persuaded by DICE from those rather cool concept art shots I've linked in the description. I'm sure you've seen them all already, which did include, I noticed, the mighty AA vehicle in the desert shot with the planes flying over. So, you know, he's going to be sat right in his spawn, planted there for the entirety of the match, which you'll all get to witness because they're going to do a full live stream reveal of the game, 32 versus 32 players with Twitch YouTubers and other people, today, which is June the 12th at 2 PM Pacific time, which is about 9 PM UK. And then the day after, I'm going to get to record it at EA Play. Yeah, I can't wait. I really can't wait. Like, I even went back to play some just for a flamethrower because I knew there were going to be flamethrowers in Battlefield 1, and the last game that had one in that DICE made was Bad Company 2 Vietnam mod. So, yeah, a lot of fun toasting people. It was such a cool reveal trailer though, as well. Like, I was really impressed with DICE, I have to say, because it would appear they managed to get their Michael Bay syndrome under control. And I googled that. It said on Google there was no cure for that, and it was more infectious than the Geordie Shore cast. So, the fact I could see some gameplay beneath the explosions was their working miracles. And wasn't it beautiful gameplay as well? They brought back the photogrammetry, and they'll use this for all their future games, I'd have thought, that they used in Star Wars Battlefront. And apparently the good thing about this photogrammetry they use is that it cuts down the amount of time it takes them to create things. So instead of it taking like 2 weeks to build a whole soldier, something like that, it takes them like 5-6 days, which is what you end up with, is a whole lot more content built into your game because they can create stuff so much faster. And those time periods were just the comparison between Battlefield 4 and Battlefront, how much quicker they did things, so it's probably even quicker now. Now, along with yesterday's teaser trailer, they also released some details about how the gunplay is going to change. And doesn't this M16 look cool, by the way? This is my favourite looking gun in every Battlefield game I've played so far. Like, just with that wrap, and isn't it beautiful? Like, I really like using the iron sights as well. It makes such a nice change because they really do change up how gameplay plays, having to use iron sights. Because with the red dot, as you can see, well, this one isn't a good example because there's actually something underneath this one, but you can't see underneath, so you have to like burst, and it changes up the way you have to use the guns when using iron sights. And I'm really glad to going back to them. That and lock-on launchers as well, because I hate those things with an absolute passion. Like, but they're going to be gone, fortunately. Well, they know what people will be doing next. They'll be using that anti-tank sniper rifle to shoot down planes. And then after that, they'll be sending in their C4 horses. Wait, I mean dynamite horses. I wonder what happens to the horse when you blow it up. I've got a bit of a feeling Don Corleone is probably going to be having flashbacks. Anyway, the speed at which bullets fly has been increased for Battlefield 1. Because in most World War I games, and indeed in Bad Company 2 Vietnam, the bolt-action rifles, they're kind of... well, the assault rifles and stuff generally just wreck them. I don't think there were actually assault rifles, or maybe just only a few in World War I, but I'm sure we'll see some in the game as, like, prototypes. But I think by increasing the bullet speed, they're perhaps trying to make it so that bolt-action rifles, which benefit most from that, are more competitive and people will actually use them. I really hope they get the same kind of weapon balance they've got in Battlefield 4, because when I play this game, I don't feel... like in Battlefield 3, the M16A3 was the best gun in the game. Whereas in this game, I kind of feel like you can use... whatever. Like, people say the AK is good. I actually think the AK-12 is good. And this gun. This M16, the burst-fire one, is, in my opinion, the best gun in the game. One of the other things they've changed up, though, is that melee combat is going to play a much larger focus now. You can choose your own melee weapons. Like, if you've got one of those little spiked clubs, they do an absolute ton of damage, but they've got less range. If you're using, like, a shovel to batter people, it does less damage, but has a longer range because it's like got a longer handle and stuff. I want to see like a 10-man bayonet charge down a trench, just like one after the other. See how many people you could take out before you get mowed down. Because you can fix a bayonet on, but then once you've set off on your bayonet charge until you hit a wall, you've just got basic controls. Like, you're just gonna keep going forwards. So, I mean, if anybody gets in your way and doesn't manage to see you before you get them, I think it's gonna be fantastic. That. So that's the end of the anticipation for Battlefield 1, shall we call that section of the video. And this last part, I just wanted to talk a bit about YouTube, my thoughts on it, and that kind of stuff. So hopefully that'll interest people. So as you know, I didn't post a video for about 4.5-5 weeks, which is pretty long even by my standards. Fortunately, the video I did make in that time, which was a DayZ one, people really seemed to like. I mean, it got 1 million views in 2 days, over 100k likes. So if you haven't seen that video, I don't know if DayZ's everybody's thing, but you should definitely just at least watch a little bit of it, because it was a lot of effort putting that video together. But basically, I had quite a bit of time off before I made that DayZ video, because my grandma, as I was talking about in the Overwatch video I did when she was ill, she actually didn't end up making it. So I mean, I could have made a video like in the time, sort of, you know, it takes a little bit of time to sort of, you know, adapt to these things. So but you could sort of tell in my voice I was a little bit sad, and I didn't really want to like, I didn't want to like sound like that in video and stuff. And then after that, my dog wasn't very well, so I actually recorded that just for 20 seconds to show you what the situation was with it.
What's up?
He left you for 20 seconds. Can't give you any more painkillers. She had a lump removed off her stomach because it's some of the lower herpes, so it's genetically prone to get, I think. But we did find that if you put painkiller in butter and then put it on a piece of ham, then she actually eats it. But I didn't know that. She wouldn't eat him, so I took her out to my parents' house, and their old dog like apparently did that as well. But I also had a laser eye surgery checkup. As I said, I had that back like last November time, and it's gone really well. I've got 20/12 vision now, no side effects. I had it done at the London Vision Clinic by Professor Dan Reinstein, and it turned out really great. 2012 is too better than 2020, by the way. It's like I'm fighter pilot vision right now. But yeah, and I also work 6 days a week, 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. or usually, sometimes in the afternoon, but usually that. At a lawyer's office. I qualified just before Christmas, but I really enjoy doing that. I know some people do wonder why I don't like do YouTube as a full job, and to be honest, you probably make more. But I mean, this last week we were helping this lady get her house back, and for some pro bono work working on, and it's, I don't really know the word, but it's like more substantial. You know, it's a different thing to what YouTube is. Obviously, I love doing YouTube, but it's kind of like a different. I probably didn't explain that very well, but I do enjoy doing that as well. So it's sometimes a little difficult, like doing everything together. Then I decided, as I said, to do the DayZ video, and I just wanted to show the project file of that, because sometimes people wonder why I can't make them like every couple of days or whatever, and I think sometimes because the type of editing I do is not it's not like COD montage editing where it's like really obvious. There's a lot of like subtle things in there which take time, but like they enhance the video in the background for you. So this is the project file, just to like show you what's involved. To be honest, this probably doesn't mean much to you, but this is all hand edited by me. Nobody does this for me, nobody records it for me. It's like I've gone through this and done it all together. Like, I mean, I spent a full day editing in Waves this last week. You ever tried editing in Waves for a full day? In fact, it was only 2 days, because there's no waves in Arma 3, and I thought, like, without them, it kind of, like, spoils the immersion a little bit. But there's a lot of little things like that in the background which are kind of designed to, like, enhance the video for you without you noticing. Generally, the recording process is we record like probably 20-30 hours just in live servers. Or if it's like, if we've had to set up a server like the DayZ one, then it's with just random people, but they're just all doing their own thing. And then I try and rough edit it into a sort of story, or so that it flows properly. And obviously, because, you know, people just play games in the most advantageous way possible without sort of any of that kind of adventure to it, I then have to go back, usually about a week or so after we've finished recording, and get the extra clips to make it flow properly together. And I feel it's really important to do that. There's like, it's like when TV shows create that suspension of disbelief. Like when you look at Rick Grimes and he's on his horse riding towards Atlanta in that classic poster that they released at the start of The Walking Dead. That's actually just recorded in the parking lot of the studio. The zombies, believe it or not, they aren't actually real. Which I know is going to be like telling some people that Santa doesn't exist. He does exist. I've seen him, but you know, it's like that flow is really important to make people want to continue watching the video to the end. And if you see the obvious cuts and it doesn't flow, you know, that suspension of disbelief is lost. For games like Battlefield and stuff where there isn't like that story at all, it's more a case of like just repeating things until something cool happens. Like, I could just run about the streets like I'm doing here and just, you know, shoot people, but sometimes I'll literally like run to the top of the Siege of Shanghai Tower 20-30 times, jump off hoping that something cool after the fall happens, and it doesn't, so I've gone like 1 kill 50 deaths at that point, and then I managed to get like that one cool clip where I managed to kill a load of people at the bottom. And I just think that's better for people to watch than just generic running about on the street. I mean, do you know the pains I've been through running through these multiplayer games with full graphics so it looks nicer for you? Like, because obviously when you like playing a multiplayer game, you really want to like put everything on low as you possibly can so you can see people and you've got the best frame rate. But you know, I mean, the side effect of these things is like obviously clips aren't always going to be chronological, or you know, I've compacted audio down so like we say something funny, then there's a big gap while we're thinking about the next thing, and then there's something that progresses the story and the commentary, and obviously I edit those down so that, you know, the overall effect is that it's more, you know, it's more entertaining and it flows better. Now, in terms of like showing footage of new games and stuff like that, I'm not really like a review channel. I'm much more interested in showing you just something cool in the game, because you know, you're not idiots, and obviously you can see for yourself. You know already that if you excessively buy microtransactions, it encourages companies to put them in. I don't need to say that in every single video. I know I just take that as a given because obviously it's common sense. But I also just don't like crapping on games generally, because in my opinion, like, the funnest time to play a game is literally the first day you get it, and you're like, you usually have a bit of a gilded opinion about the game, and obviously if you're watching, take that into consideration. But it's, you know, like, if you go into a game looking for the negatives of it, then you end up missing the fun stuff in it. And no matter what the game is, there's always people who end up enjoying it, and I feel like you can see from the footage I show whether or not it's something that you'd enjoy. And the other thing is, of course, even though publishers have very questionable policies and things a lot of the time that's also had nothing to do with the developers. And they, you know, some people, even if the gameplay isn't that great, like the artists and the sound guys, they've spent like a full 1-2 years of their life working on something, and you know, they're going to take it a bit personally, you know. And I don't want to spoil something that somebody's worked on for that amount of time. It's very easy to get misconceptions about things as well. Like, it happens with YouTube as well. But if you got in a Skype call one of the devs of a game and like they explained why they couldn't fix this, you probably end up getting great on with them, even though you, up until that point, might have hated the game or whatever. But obviously it's not possible to get in a Skype call with everybody who watches the YouTube channel, everybody who, you know, is playing a game, and you just hope that people realise that. One of the most common misconceptions is sponsored videos on YouTube, and I know some YouTubers do take advantage of this, that, and the other, but like, if you know that, why are you even subscribed to them? But like that DayZ video, that cost me about $5,000 to make. Now, I'm never going to make back that amount of money off it. Even if you look at the Social Blade figures, the Social Blade is nothing like what the actual case is, with what people earn on things. Like, not everybody's freaking PewDiePie. And you know, if I continuously made DayZ videos at that kind of cost, I wouldn't be able to continue doing YouTube, because like, I won't have any money for anything left, so I have to do other videos in between. And if I'm fortunate enough to get a sponsored video, and that really helps towards it. Obviously some of the time there's a gap between videos because there's literally nothing for me to post. Like Star Citizen, I covered everything that I could in one video, and now I've just got to wait for more content to release. It's not that I don't want to post a video, there isn't anything there to show you. And I'm not just talking about like music and other costs. There's things like in those videos for you as well. Like that DayZ video, in fact the previous one, I bought the Springfield model, and then it's up free for anybody to use on the Arma 3 workshop, and it was one of the most popular mods on there. The minigun, I don't know if that's actually up yet, but it should be. I've also paid for that as well, and you're looking hundreds of pounds for, you know, the creation of a model like that. Essica, you know, I like funded the guy who works on Essica, 'cause he'd done so much work on it, a new PC so that he could, you know, continue making Essica, so that you've got a cool map for Arma 3. But like, I mean, I can only like go off my experience. Like when I'm watching a YouTuber that I really like Goldglove or Rabez, and they happen to get a sponsored video, I don't think, oh, screw them because they've got one and they're obviously going to be biased in that video. I think, oh wow, I'm going to be really supporting their channel by watching that because I know they're going to be making, more of the content that I enjoy and better content. Because you never know what you're going to enjoy either. Like sometimes a lot of the time I subscribe for the YouTuber, but sometimes I watch one video, watch a different one for the same YouTuber, and it's better than the one I originally watched. So, I suppose it depends on the YouTuber. A couple of last things. The first one, I haven't answered for a very long time because it's been so long now that it doesn't matter. But I see this on every video. People ask me, old subscribers do, that why I don't play with the person I used to play DayZ with. And basically one day he turned around to me after we've been playing for about a year and said that we can't play anymore because we're posting the same footage, and obviously because I'm getting more views on it, it kind of makes his footage a little bit redundant. I did ask him at the time if we could just play one day a week because I knew people liked seeing us play together, but apparently he didn't have time anymore for that. You may find that a little bit ironic, given that he's now playing with smaller channels. Of course, if everybody did that, then nobody would be able to play together. But that aside, I much prefer that's actually happened now with hindsight, because I wouldn't have started playing with Sada, and I'm so much better friends with Sada. Like we get on absolutely great. It's a constant laugh the entire time we play. You should definitely check out his Twitch, which is Sada Plays, and I put it in the description to all the videos he's in, and he's a really cool guy. So I much prefer how things have turned out with that, and I promise you, I'm not upset. I only framed the message you sent me and put it on my mantelpiece. I didn't. No, I mean, we're not in contact, but it's cool. Lastly, and I just wanted to mention this for people who are newly subscribed. I did mention it about 9 months or so ago, but obviously nearly 1 million people have subscribed since then. But the chat on my channel is moderated by currently 5 of my friends, although the worst 6. But basically, it's just so that when Frankie on Wii and 240p decides to post up his... Sorry, Frankie on Wii, I'm sure you're totally cool. That's just an example. But when he decides to post up his, Xbox Live Gold Coin virus link, or whatever people post for that, it just means that gets removed without any of you guys hopefully falling for it. Obviously, if you do see something like that, or you see disrespectful comments to other people, or anything like that, make sure you flag them, because obviously sometimes it takes, 5-10 minutes or so before a mod realizes that something's actually there. But the main reason I did this is because somebody once, I get a lot of these messages too, but somebody once sent me a message saying, Mum's not with us anymore, but me and my dad, we love to sit in the living room when you post a DayZ video, put it on the TV and watch it. It's one of the best parts of my week. And somebody just wrote fuck to that. Like, nothing. I know it doesn't make sense, but what I thought was, I don't want some random dickhead spoiling somebody's enjoyment of the videos, like that. So, because everybody here is here to enjoy the videos for entertainment, and the rest of the internet might be the Wild West, but if I don't want it spoiling for people like that when they're enjoying something. It's actually really good because I don't have to deal with that. I can actually read more comments. But if sometimes they're a little bit overzealous, the mods. Although if you ever have a problem, just send me through a message and I'll get it sorted straight away. Because obviously sometimes mistakes are made, and just language and barriers and all kinds of things. So I'll get it sorted. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I realise this was a long video, but I just wanted to cover everything all in one video. And really thanks for supporting that DayZ video as well, because it was a lot of work putting that together, and I'm really pleased people enjoyed it. And I do realise that sometimes people are disliking stuff because it's not DayZ, and they think because I post something else, it's I am working on other videos in the background, even if sometimes I'm even afraid to post other stuff because of that. That's why I sometimes double post, because I'm thinking, oh, they're not going to like this, it's not. But I am really happy with how YouTube's going though. I know I can't post quite as often as some other channels, but I'm hoping what I do post is going to be entertaining for you, and I shall try and make sure that's the case. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully I shall be able to get up some Battlefield 1 very shortly, and I shall see you guys in the next chapter.